my grandmother was dying, and I told her, when you die, please come to me, take me with you. I need to know where you are, what you do. And she died, and I think maybe 2 days later or something, not far after she died, I laid in my sister's bed, and we were all still like processing it and sad. I wasn't even thinking about her, she taking me to heaven or anything, but surely enough, she kept her promise.
Welcome to the Soulful Reminders podcast, your go-to spot for spiritual inspiration, growth, and connection to your true self. I'm your host, Kady. Each week, I invite inspiring guests to share their unique spiritual lessons and insights, helping us all remember who we are at our core. This is more than just a podcast. It's a vibrant community where we'll explore how to unlock our full potential and embrace our essence in every aspect of our life. Life can get busy and overwhelming, but here, we focus on those soulful nudges that remind us of our incredible power. Whether you're seeking wisdom, a bit of encouragement, or simply a moment of inspiration, you're in the perfect place. Grab your favorite drink, get cozy. Let's dive into this journey together because you deserve to shine your brightest. Thank you for joining us today on Soulful Reminders podcast. And today I'm so excited and honored to have Daniela Hopple here with me. I was a guest on her podcast, and so we met and we just totally clicked and hit it off. And I wanted her to be a guest on my podcast. She has such an incredible and inspiring spiritual awakening story that I think is important for all of us to hear. So Daniela is originally from Germany, and she was raised in a haunted house. So I think it's super fascinating what she's been through, and her spiritual gifts were awakened early on in life. So Daniela, thank you for joining us today and being willing to share your story.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. And I enjoy your podcast as well. And I think many other people do too. So I've been raised in Germany, and yeah, it was definitely haunted. Many people died, including a 9-year-old child. But
in this house?
In this house, yeah. She got, a semi truck drove over her. But besides all that, we grew up there. Besides all this ghostly stuff, I was already spiritual gifted, and I don't know, it just was the way it was, And yeah, I had a very special and big bond with my grandmother. Me and my sister, we both loved her. Our grandfather was very nice too, but we grew up in one big house. She was living downstairs and we were living upstairs. And it's different than the American would build it because we have like upstairs kitchen, everything, and then
like a separate flat type of
double. It's a double house. But anyways, yeah, we loved her. We grew up there, and I started to just thought about, hey, how would that be if I just look in somebody's eyes? And then I found out that they are like a book, the eyes. So I can read eyes. And I was reading, when I was 16 or 17, I was reading eyes with a few friends that I barely knew, but we worked in a facility together. And it was like a fabric. And it was very interesting because all of a sudden that his dad came through, and I saw him clearly. I also heard him, and he told me so many things that I could never know, and I told it to him, and he was amazed. And anyways, then I met another guy that I just found in the disco, like in a club, and when we were out, just 17, 18 years old. And I told him, wow, let me see your eyes. I see. And then I felt this, it's like an energy and a seeing. So I felt that he has a child, and this child is in the hospital, and he's lying about being single, because I was thinking about potential dating him and stuff. And when I said all that, he said, oh my God, how do you know this? And he ran out the door, and I never saw him again.
Yeah. That's amazing. So you have this ability, the gift to look into the eyes, and it sounds like it basically access their Akashic records. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's been that way. So I have had many readings for people that I never knew, and I did it also over the phone. It was fascinating. I just had an app. I saw an app on Facebook, and I contacted these people because they said free readings. You can, contact people there. I wanted to see how good I am. So I did contact a few, and it was extremely interesting because I didn't know I can do it over the phone without seeing the person. Usually, what I do is seeing them, but I could do it without seeing them. And it was very interesting. Like an 11-year-old took his own life, and I said, I see you in that house, and there was a lake, and you used to always go with your son fishing right there. I saw the whole scene. I saw the house, I saw the lake, and I told him. And before the ghosts contact me before that happened, before I pick up the phone, because he said something, they want to move out, but I didn't want to say it right away. And then, so anyways, I continued saying, you used to fish a lot with him, and that's your nice memory. He said, yes, that's correct. And then I say, you're sitting on a chair now and have his boots on. He's laughing and said, yes, I do. And the
Oh,
lake, everything was the total match. Like I knew already it was true because I could hear and feel it and see it. And then so on, yeah. And then before we hung up, he said, yeah, we are moving out. I didn't say it for some reason. I didn't wanna, I don't know, sometimes
yeah, I know. Sometimes it's good in the spirit realm not to necessarily say everything. Like I usually ask for confirmation before saying stuff because us as humans, we may want to hear it, but after we hear it, we may not,
yeah.
So, and as well as a medium, like I'm a medium too. So sometimes we're just like second guess ourselves.
Yeah,
Like,
but when
do we, am I
yeah,
really getting this correctly? Mm-hmm.
yeah, the same when I had you on my podcast, I felt your energy. I was saying I love you because I felt the love you had felt. And
Oh,
this was like I told you I wanna just say I love you. I felt this overwhelming love from you. And also
oh,
I had
Daniela, that means so much to me. Thank
yeah.
you. It's so beautiful. I just want to say to hear that confirmation because
Yeah.
I just have so much compassion for people. I know life is hard. It's hard for all of us. Not anybody is like getting this free pass. Some people it's harder than others, but it's like
Yeah.
if we can't have compassion for other
Hmm.
people, it just makes life even
Yes.
harder.
Yes, and you are full of love, and
Thank
you
you.
are a child of God, and we all are. But I'm saying, this I can feel it. And then I had another interview. This was funny, and she is a dream specialist. She specializes in dreams. And I never saw her face because she didn't want to be seen, but I interviewed her on my podcast. And I made some pictures and all that over there so people can see some pictures. But you know what was funny? After that, I dreamed. I dreamed every day. And you know what's, I mean, the dreams are really insane. Like I mean, I'm just gonna say it. My husband's sister, she expected a child. And I had this dream. She was almost giving birth, like 2 weeks before I had this dream. And then I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Like I woke up and I saw her. I saw her being so angry about the child and how everything went. And I wanted to call her or text her, but I didn't. I mean, I didn't want it. I wanted to, and somehow I didn't felt like I should. Like it was something kept me away from doing it. And then I got a phone call from my husband told me he said she lost that. It was born in the stomach, like it was already dead. But that was so like a dream, the anger. And then she had this anger about herself, and this is what I was dreaming. And also those things.
That's really
I
sad.
feel, I feel those. I had so many other dreams before that were true. It's unbelievable.
Do you keep a dream journal?
No.
Oh,
No.
you may want to consider keeping a
You know,
journal.
it's, yeah, that's true. Maybe 10 years later, you don't remember, but
Right.
it's kind of like a near death, I would say, because I'm in there, and I don't think you ever forget that near death experience.
You
And that's,
don't. You
yeah,
remember it as if you like
exactly.
remember it better than I do yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. And you
Yeah.
know what? I can tell you something, and all the listeners. I had a near death experience, many without being dead. And this is something not many people talk about it because they're like, I had my heartbeat. I wasn't like, I'm still alive. How can that be? Because we don't know too much about it yet. People have to be dead that other people want to know about it. So my grandmother was dying, and I told her, when you die, please come to me, take me with you. I need to know where you are, what you do, and you need to do this. And she died, and I think maybe 2 days later or something. I can't remember exactly, 1, 2, or 3 days later, not far after she died. I laid in my sister's bed on the couch, and we were all still like processing it and like sad. I wasn't even thinking about her, she taking me to heaven or anything, but surely enough, she kept her promise. So I laid there, fell asleep, and as soon as I knew it, I stood right next to her, and it was so normal. She's like, let's look around and I show you what I do. And
Oh,
yeah, and we went back to the house that I grew up in because we moved out later. So, but when we were living there as children, she showed me, she said, some other people moved in there, but I still come here and look around. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. So didn't thought much about it, but she told me where she's hiding because she didn't want to be seen by people. So when you're dead, you have that fear to be seen somehow. So she was hiding behind the door. And then she's like, in one moment, we were all of a sudden in the other house. It wasn't even any question. We just were there. And then she said, look, I'm watching your grandfather at night sleeping. I said, wow, that's so interesting that you do this. And then we went to the hallway. And then I said, how come? And then I'm like, how come that I stand here talking to you and you died? I know you did. I saw you dying. And now what about you be there talking to me? How my brain didn't process that. I think, it took me almost more than 10 years to really understand more of it. I mean, even though we do understand there is something, but it's your grandmother, it's like so weird to think like you buried her and like, how is that? And then she told me, yes, I'm still alive. And my body was not working anymore, but my brain is still alive. I said, wow, this is so interesting. Then she did this on my nose, and because I said, I want to know, do you sleep? Do you eat? Then she said, you cannot be too nosy. I cannot know everything yet. And then I'm like, wow. And then she said she has to go. I said, I mean, wait a minute, you have to go. So she showed me with her finger pointing to the ceiling, and the whole ceiling was gone. It wasn't a roof anymore. It was that beautiful light that was out of, like, you could see it intense of like movement. It was like not angry, but it wanted her back. It was that huge light. It covered the whole ceiling. And she said, they need me back. And I said, I said to her, this is so, I mean, incredible. And I cannot believe what I'm saying, that I talk to you. And if I wake up in this moment, I think I'm gonna like have a heart attack or something. I know it's real, and I'm gonna better go too, because I can't process this. And then I left, and I know I felt in my body like I flew in by the couch. I fell off the couch. And that when I know, like I know already this was totally truthful. So my grandmother, She came back 6 years before I had my children. She showed me my middle child, and I didn't even know I mean, I will have children, who knows? Like with my first, she also showed up, but in a different way, because my first is very complicated. And she told me, she came in a vision, that was incredible, because I married a guy and he was, I would say, everybody says, why did you do it? But I believed in him. So he was 23 years older than me at that time. We were both kind of like saying, let's see how it goes, where it goes. And things were not turning out too good. But me and him, we just, we tried to make the best out of it. And then we decided, let's have a child. And he was very successful. He had money, and I was feeling comfortable being with him, having a child, so he can support that child, because who wants to have a child that you can support? So
Right.
anyways, and so as soon as we made that child, in this moment, I could feel it. Some people say, did you feel this little sparkle down there? Like I could. But besides that, I saw right away my grandmother saying like this, saying, are you sure? This child will be a very difficult child, and the whole thing about it will be extremely difficult. Are you sure? And she knew the future with that child and how it turned out. So then I thought, wow, I definitely want to keep this child, but I didn't know she showed me a little, like, it will be difficult and hard. So her face and vision went away, and I left and go to the beach. They were right there, the beach. And as I was walking at the beach, I heard a voice in the sky, from the sky to my ears, saying, we will always miss us. And I knew right then it was my child. So anyways, we got a divorce when the child was born. 4 or 5 months she was born, and we got a divorce. I had to do an injunction against him. He was violent, he was ugly, nasty, he was, terrible. He pushed me with a baby he threatened me to kill me. It was a nightmare. It was, insane, just like my grandmother predicted. And the child had to go through the stress. I had to go to the courthouse. We were fighting back and forth. Like, I wanted the child more because I didn't believe he was a good father or how could I believe this? But he was fighting stronger, and he didn't let go. And I was holding the pen to sign. And in this moment, an angel came and took the pen out of my hand. I'm like, wow, this was like so intense. I knew I shouldn't have signed it, but I was pushed in the corner. I was like, I have to do this. So I signed, and then we had to share every other day, and it was a nightmare for years. And the child turned out to be absolutely mentally challenging for me, for sure. And anyways, I also then my middle child, before she came around, my grandmother came back, and I was sleeping. She took me, and we were both walking in heaven. In those, they say everything is so many rooms, and it's beautiful. Everything was white. And she walked next to me. We didn't talk, but she just want to show me. So she stood by the door, a white door, everything was the floor, everything. And then she left me there. I'm like, this is sad. Why are you leaving? And then I go into the door. Don't know why I did, but I did because it obviously was right there. And there were all these toys. And it was incredible. Like, I'm like, wow, this is interesting. And then there was that doll. And that doll had no hair and had like these eyes, and I'm like, wow, look at this. And I'm just thinking to myself, this doll is on a rocking horse, like an old kind of rocking horse. And then I looked at it, I saw this doll as a doll. And all of a sudden it moved the eyes and the lips, or I don't know if it moved the lips, but it was maybe just talking in my head, saying, you will be my mom in the future.
Oh my God.
I was so shocked. I said, how can that be? How? And I knew it was like real. It wasn't a dream. I was standing there, and I will never forget until I die, because I was in heaven. So then I left my body very quickly because I got afraid of that doll. I got afraid of the whole thing. And then I left. I fell out of my bed, and I
Again.
knew, yeah, I knew my soul had to adjust to my body.
Yes.
So that was that. It was very interesting.
So
And
that's so you have the ability to astral travel, yes? So
yes,
your soul leaves your body and goes out. So it's like an NDE. Your soul leaves your body and goes in the spirit realm.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
and I think all of us have that ability. Some more, it's easier for some. Like it seems like it's very easy for you. Whereas for me, it takes work. I actually have like different practices to help me astral travel. And it's just, I think it's all of our vibration and where we're at to be able to go into those realms.
Yeah, with the Astral Travel, I tell you something. So before all that, I was reading a book about astral traveling, and I was very curious before that all happened. I said, wow, what is if I can do this? And let's read that book. So I was reading the book and did it. But in that moment, when I left my body, or whatever it felt like it, I was on the ceiling, and I was so scared because I had this feeling I could go now into an elevator and go up there. And then I said, oh my God, I can't do it. So I left back in my body, but it was very quickly, and I was so afraid. So I never did it again. I think everybody through a book gives you a good understanding. Everybody can read that book and maybe try to do it and get their own experience. But I would say what I did, it was more a miracle because my grandmother took me there.
Yeah, you
So
had agreement with her.
yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Beautiful. And the thing about astral travel too, that you really have to still be like you have to be able to know how to get back into your body. So you have to be really safe knowing what you're doing. Because some people like it could be dangerous that you don't come back.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to. I don't know if that book covers that and talks about it, because I think that's maybe why you got scared going up, because you're like, wait, I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Yeah, I will never be scared going, like when my grandmother takes me, I will never be scared because it's amazing.
Because it's safe. Yeah.
It's like you visit a neighbor. It's nothing new to me, and but when you do it, I don't know, that astral travel is a little, I don't know, it's different to me because nobody is pushing me to heaven or something. There's so many levels. You can go into a realm with blackness. You can, it's not necessarily heaven.
Yes. No, for when I do it, I always set the intention of where I want to go. And I've had experiences where I like do my rituals and with the intention I'm going to go into the astral, and then literally having a spirit like physically touch me and wake me up as I start to go into a deep sleep, because for whatever reason, my body or where I was going to go would have been detrimental for me. And like waking me up over and over and like not letting me sleep that night type of thing. Like, so yes, you have to know what you're doing. You have to be comfortable with it. And again, some people it's very natural, some people it's not. So I like to just give that disclaimer because not everybody's ready for it.
Yes, yeah.
And like you weren't ready, but with your grandmother, you are, because you know you're safe with her. She's going to take you somewhere that your soul is not prepared for, or I don't know if it would be your soul or your ego. The ego. Because the soul, I think, is okay with it, but the soul comes back and our ego remembers and is like,
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Also, my third eye opened up a lot after I did the hypnosis and everything. So I had, before my grandmother died, 2 weeks before she died, or week, somewhere around that, I walked on the streets and my third eye just opened. I saw the cars by me and my sister walking next to me. And all of a sudden, this vision comes. My grandmother leaving her body and going into heaven. And I saw her going there, turning around, saying, hey, stop crying for me because I will have trouble moving forward. And she knew that we were sad and crying, but she needed us to stop and understand. But she did move forward. And then that huge heaven door opened, and there were all her mother, father, her relatives, everybody was there greeting her on the left side. And on the right side, her cat came running towards her. It was incredible. I mean, to see that. And then she asked her mother or whoever, she just asked in the crowd, the people who waited for her, have you waited for me for so long? And they replied, we wait on everybody who comes here. And this was so incredible. I went with her in heaven, just on the peak of the beginning. And I saw these little angels in bubbles. And they were so happy, like there were thousands or millions of little angels in bubbles. And it was incredible. Like, and I never saw her mom, her dad, and I saw them there. Like, it was amazing. Absolutely, yeah. And
That's incredible. What a beautiful experience.
yeah.
Do you ever go to bed and ask your grandmother to take you at night when you're going to sleep or not? Like, do you ever intentionally try to make it happen?
Actually, not anymore because I mean she can. I love her so much, but I do know that she is more further away now, since she is dead over 20 years, and I know that she is just further away doing her thing, and
Right.
I don't have any need anymore.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, we always have questions, but
Yeah, it's so beautiful. You say that. I interviewed Mariko, Frederick, like a month or so ago, and she talked about that, and she remembers her lives in between lives. And so she talked about her past life of where she was this father that transitioned early and left the daughter. So the daughter lost mom and dad. And so the father was constant, she being the father, when she transitioned, she was, or she was watching the daughter until the daughter got to an age that she was no longer grieving. Just like you know, your grandmother's moved on, she'll come and see you, but you're okay. But it's like you're not grieving. And so your grandmother can move on. And so Mariko talks about how her soul at that point, as soon as the daughter was not grieving to that extreme level, moved on. And every once in a while to come back and check in on the daughter and make sure the daughter's okay. But then she would keep going to the different rooms and the different realms that she was going to, just where the soul needed to go.
exactly. And yeah, what can we ask? We can't be too nosy, like she said.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, there's many things, we always have questions, but I'm okay now. Like I still cry definitely some days because I just miss her. But I know one day I asked myself, why can I not hear you anymore? And I wanted to contact like a spiritual medium. This was a while ago, like 4 years ago. And then I heard her voice. I'm still here. And that was totally her. And that it disappeared. I mean, we can't see them, but they are still.
I know, it's interesting. I feel so blessed because, I have mediumship. Both of us are mediums. So, they're there and you can hear them. I can see them in the spiritual realm. You can see your grandmother, you can visit her. But they're not here. Yeah. So our lives definitely adjust and change. And, there's still a grieving process.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I, for those that don't have the same gift, it's at least there's mediums out there that can connect people to their loved ones so they know their loved ones don't die.
Yeah. And, I felt it with my mother when she came. She opened the back door and in this moment, I saw her own dad, which it sounds so weird and like, why would you say that? But I felt this overcoming love, and like you experienced too, it was blowing my mind, and so many people waited on her. It was the most amazing dad when you be greeted. It's insane. She was it's like she turned back into a child, like she gets pampered and like nurtured and everything around her. I said, wow, I never like had seen it like that, because she works over 30 years in a nursing home and she had like helped so many elderly dying, that all these stand in front of her when she dies. So kids and people out there, help, because we are kids, children of God. Help one another, and you get so much rewarded when you go and die. The love will be doubled.
Wow.
And the reward.
And so that's what you saw for your mother when she passes.
Yes.
Has your mother actually passed, or
No, she's still alive. I told her it will be a long time from now. I don't know exactly the date, and if I know, I wouldn't say it, but I don't know that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, I'm with you. I wouldn't want to know the date.
It's creepy,
yeah, exactly.
But we are not dying. That's for sure.
Yeah, what a beautiful gift. And so, Daniela, you don't offer readings right now. You're not offering.
I can. I was thinking about doing it actually and trying it out. I just need to build a website and have different, thoughts about how to do it, where to do it, with what website to go. So, but for now, I can do spiritual talk or mediumship over the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody wants to reach us, it's heavenly at dkspiritualmiracles.com.
So, yes, Daniela and her sister. I'm sorry, what's your sister's name again?
Catherine.
Catherine.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my middle name. I would think that I would know that. Daniela and Catherine have this beautiful podcast that they interview people with all spiritual awakening, right? NDE, spiritual awakening. It's really a beautiful podcast. That's how we connected. And so I will drop the link below for the podcast and your email. So if somebody would like to connect with her for a reading, they can email you directly.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Before you go, I do have one other question. If you can tune into the audience, I know this is recorded, but it doesn't matter. If you can tune into the audience and tell me if you can do that. If you can't, that's okay. But the audience that will be watching this, if you have a message for either everyone that's watching it, or if there's a specific person, I would love for you to deliver a message for the audience today.
Yes, I will love to. So the reason why we are on this earth, I believe, is to show each other respect and love and kindness, and to show our true colors, our true heart. And because Jesus is judging us individually by our heart, how good we actually are. What did we make out of life? How can we help others, serve others, do better, be better? That's all that matters. And not how much money we have or make. I mean, that's important, but it's more important to, love each other.
Absolutely. Thank you. That touched me. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. You are very loved, and I love you. I just need to tell you. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Daniela. Thank you for your stories. They're so powerful, and your insights. And I love that you shared that you don't have to have an NDE to experience the spiritual realm. You really don't. And some people feel like, I hear people say to me all the time, I'm jealous you had an NDE. And I'm like, no, don't be, because you don't want to go through it. It's not a pleasant experience, physically, what you have to, go through. But yes, you can absolutely access the spiritual realm. The veil is super thin.
Yes. Ask somebody who is almost about to die, and tell them, please take me with you just for a little bit to see what is actually there. And if they keep their promise, you will be there. That's how easy it is.
I love it. So beautiful. So beautiful. I wish I would have done that with my dog Fritz when he passed a year ago. Actually, I'll ask him to take me. He still visits me, but I'll ask him if he'll take me up there. So Daniela, thank you again. I appreciate your time. And to our listeners, I hope you found as much inspiration out of Daniela's story. Hearing how our loved ones are our guides. Her grandmother is seriously her guide. And she was forewarning her, but there's no rejection. There's no shame. It's free will to do whatever you want. But our guides are there to help us prevent extra learning experiences that maybe we don't necessarily want to go through as a soul. I think it's really important to know that our guides are seriously here guiding us every step of the way. So thank you for sharing that. And I hope all of you, my listeners, keep shining your light. The world needs you. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Soulful Reminders Podcast. I hope you're feeling inspired and empowered by the incredible insights we shared today. Remember, every story and lesson we explore is a beautiful reminder of the immense potential that resides within you. As you continue on your journey, take these soulful nudges with you. Embrace your true essence and actively work towards unlocking your full potential in every area of your life. If this episode resonated with you, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And don't keep this goodness to yourself. Share it with others who could use this little reminder too. Until next time, keep shining your light. Remember, you're not alone in this journey. Together, we can uplift and inspire one another to live fully and authentically. You got this.